Hello all. Now here we've got the T5 calculator paper, the first part of your booklet, and I'm going to do the last past paper, which is January 2014. So it's this bottom one here. Okay, and in this video I'm going to explain the first 5 questions. So I'm going to do question 1, that's question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4 and question 5 in this part of the video. So when you're going through, when I'm going through this now, will you have your past paper open in front of you and see how I'm working them out and see how you get on against that? Okay, so I'll shorten this down here. Okay, and this is the first page. That's just to show you that it's the January 2014, and it's the T5 paper 2. Okay, so that's just the first 2. I'll just take that back and put it there. Okay, make that a bit smaller. Okay, right. So here we have question 1. So if you open your question, you can see it says, write down the temperature shown on the thermometer. Okay, now the key thing to note is this. You have to work out what these are going up. So that's 31, and that's 32, and that's 33, and that's 34. So each one of these is going up 0.1. So for example, that's 31.1, 31.2, 31.3, 31.4, 31.5. So we finally get our way over it and we can see it, that's 33.8. Okay, now the second part of the question says, write down the weight shown in the arrows below. So the key thing again then is to work out what each one of those are going to happen. So you can see from 0 to 1 there's a couple of ticks in between it. So the one in the middle, for example, that one there is like, that's 1.5. The one that's sort of halfway between the 2 and the 3 is obviously the half. So each one of those is going up 0.25. Now that's 0.25, 0.5, 0.75 and 1. So every one of them is going up 0.25. So if you look here at this information, that's 6, and then 6 on your calculator, take away 0.25 gives you an answer of 5.75. The key thing to remember is that we must make sure that we know what the barriers are, what each one of those wee ticks are. So this one here would be 14.5, 14.75 and 15. Okay, now the second part of the, just get rid of that. The second part says an extra 3.5 is added. Draw an arrow to show the total weight now on the scale. So you've got your 5.75, which is there, plus your 3.5. So if you put that into your calculator, you get an answer of 9.25. Okay, so 9.25 is, remember we said that's 9 and then they're going up 0.25, so 9.25 is exactly there. Now guys, that's 3 marks for that. Okay, so we've got to be very careful we understand what the barriers are. Okay, if you think about it common sense, 14, that's 14 and a half. So what's in 14 and 14 and a half? That's going up in 0.25s. Okay, so that's how you do the first, that's question 1 done. So I'll just shorten that down. Okay, now this is question 2. Now this is a bit more difficult. It says, Jean and Rose each have a bag of sweets. Jean has an equal number of toffees, mints and fruit sweets. So as we said before, the best thing to do is to try and visualize what it looks like. So if I make that a bit bigger, they each take one sweet at random from their own bag. So we can imagine drawing like a small box here. So this is Jean, and this here is Rose. Okay, now let me get rid of that one. Okay, now it says here that Jean has an equal number of toffee, mints and fruits, and Rose has twice as many mints as fruits. Okay, so Jean must have, get a different colour, 1 toffee, 1 mint and 1 fruit. Rose has twice as many mints, so that must mean she has 2 mints and 1 fruit, and she has no toffee sweets. So she doesn't have any toffee at all. They each take one at random. Who's more likely to take a mint sweet? Well, if you look here, Rose has 2 mint sweets. Joan has only 1 mint sweet. So Rose has got twice as many. She has 2 out of 3 chances. So Rose has got twice as many. So the answer for that question is Rose has got twice as many as Jean. Now, part B, who is more likely to take a fruit sweet? Explain your answer clearly. Well, they've both got an equal chance because Jean has got 1 fruit and Rose has got 1 fruit. So here I've just written down here that Jean has 1/3 mint, 1/3 toffee and 1/3 fruit, where Rose doesn't have any toffees. But it's much easier to see it in graphical form. So sometimes always remember to try and draw something that you can see, particularly when you're doing probability. Okay, so that's the end of that question. Moving on to the next one, which is question 3. Now this presented huge problems for a lot of people. Okay, so I'm going to run through it. Remember, you have a calculator, so it is important that you use your calculator, but that you do the sums first. You must do the sums first and then use your calculator. So Jill has a part-time job, that's fine. The pay is £7 per hour, that's clearly important. She earns time and a half on a Saturday. Time and a half means that you get your £7 plus your half of 7, which is £10.50. So she gets £10.50 on a Saturday and double time on a Sunday. Well, double time means double the time and double the money. So on Sunday, she gets £14. So last week she worked 6 hours on a Monday. So 6 hours times her 7 gives her £42. On Saturday, she works 6 hours. So it's 6 hours times the £10.50 because it's time and a half. 7 and 3.50 is £10.50, which gives you 63. Sunday is double time, so she does 4 hours on a Sunday. 14 times 4 is 56. Then you add these up on your calculator after you write them down to give you 161. Now guys, that is, how many marks is that? Let me see, that is 5 marks for that. We've got to make sure we get them all right. Okay, that's question 3. Question 4. Apologies, it's just cut off at the end here, but it says, if you look at your paper, it says, every car salesman with new autos earns a basic monthly supply of £1,800. In addition, they earn a bonus of 75 for every car they sell. This is the key thing here. Can you understand this? This means your total monthly salary, what you get in a month, is a standard 1,800 plus the number of cars you sell times the bonus per car sold. So Eileen is a car salesperson, with new autos. She sold 15 cars. So 15 cars in April. That's the number of cars is 15. Work out her total monthly salary. Okay, now she gets her standard £1,800. That's what she gets. Plus the number of cars sold is 15 times the bonus. Well, the bonus is 75. So 1,800 plus 15 times 75. Now please remember you have a calculator, BidMass. The calculator will if you put that sum in the whole way, the calculator will do this multiplication first. Okay, so we need to make sure we do 15 times 75, which gives you 1125, plus your 1,800 to give you a monthly salary of 2,925. Okay, now part B. Jim is another car salesperson with new autos. In May, his monthly salary was 1,525. Now, this is clearly going to be a reverse one. Work out how many cars. So this time we need to work out not the money. We need to work out the number of cars that were sold. So we're going back on ourselves because here we know that he got 3,525. In this other question we had to work out. So we know that he's got 3,525. If you go back up to the formula, you write in 1,800, so that's 1,800, plus the number of cars we don't know, and that's multiplied by 75. So 3,525, to get that we use this number plus whatever the number of cars times 75 is. So you can do it quite a few. You can sort of have you can guess it to a certain extent. You could start, for example, with using 20 cars. So you could do 1,800 plus 20 times 75, and that would get you quite close. Or else the more sensible thing to do was, well, first of all, take this 1,800 over, because then that just leaves you with the number of cars sold times 75. So if you take that minus that, gives you 1,725. If you divide it by 75, it gives you 23 cars. Or else, if you weren't too sure, just start picking some numbers, multiply by 75 to give you 1,725. Okay, that's how you do reverse. So reverse means you take this number, which is set in stone, and you work out the number of cars sold times 75 to give you this here. We're using the formula. So if you put 23, if you put this plus 23 times 75, that will give you 3525. Two ways to do it, just to reiterate. You can either sort of guesstimate, you can start putting some numbers in to work it out, or you can bring that over. Obviously when you bring it over it becomes take away. Then you work out how many cars times 75 gives you the new number. Okay, now that's quite a difficult question, but those are the sort of questions we've got to get answered correctly. And then the last question in this part of the video is question 5, and it's got to do with rotation. Now, when I'm talking about rotation, I'm going to just talk quickly about shapes when I'm on the topic. A square has symmetry 4 and rotation 4. There's two shapes that have got 2 and 2. A rhombus has got 2 and 2, and a rectangle has got 2 and 2. And a parallelogram has 0 and 2. Now they need to be learned. They're the lines of symmetry, and they're the rotations of symmetry. Now you've got to know those guys. Now in addition to that as well, a regular hexagon, as you know, has got 6. It's a 6-sided shape. It's got 6 lines of symmetry and rotation 6. A pentagon has 5 and 5. An octagon has 8 and 8. They're all the regular shapes have both the same in lines and rotation. Now to get to this one, question 5, it says shade one square and one triangle in the diagram that completes the one line of symmetry. Okay, so the easiest thing to do is to just have a, if you can imagine, if you use a bit of tracing paper, if you trace that end, you'd have to realise that it would have to go that end, because that would have to double up on it. So if you trace that shape, you realise that this bit's missing. Now this is where tracing paper comes in, particularly for rotation and symmetry. So if you put this, you need to work out that this is the answer for, it has to go exactly there. Now, I said use tracing paper to help you with this question. So if you trace this, and you can imagine moving it round, you'd realise that when that goes there, you move this round to there, this will go there, and then this will go there. So you use tracing paper to work out exactly. When you're doing any type of symmetry or rotational symmetry, ask the examiner for tracing paper, and they'll help you. That'll help you. Well, of course, they'll give you the tracing paper, and then that'll help you work out rotational symmetry. But please learn this information. A square has 4 and 4. A rectangle and rhombus have 2 and 2. A parallelogram has no lines of symmetry but rotates twice. And the regular shapes like hexagons and pentagons and octagons have the same as the number of sides. Okay, so that's the first 5 questions explained. I'm now going to explain questions 6 to 10 on the next video. Okay, so here we have the second part of the video. We're still, it's questions 6 to 10 we're going to do now. It's still T5 paper 2, January 14, which is part of this booklet here. It's the T5 calculator paper part 1, and it's still this question. Here. So I'm now going to tackle questions 6 to 10. Okay, now let me put this back up a little bit smaller. Okay, so question 6. Mary has 63 tiles, but they're square, and she wants to arrange them into a rectangle. Write down the length and width of 2 different rectangles that she could make. The key thing is that the rectangle must have a square of 63. So in other words, you have to think of 2 numbers that multiply to give you 63. That's the key thing, because it's square. Alright, so we've got, well, there's 3 options. You can do 1 times 63, you can do 3 times 21, or 9 times 7. Either one of those will give you a square, when you multiply them, give you an answer of 63. So that's what they're talking about with the square. So for example, if I had them in a square of, I don't know, let's say 30. If I had them in a square of 30, you could have had 3 times 10, you could have had 6 times 5, or you could have 2 times 15. So watch out for that question when you see it. It's about square tiles. So those are the answers: 1 times 63, 3 21s, or 9 7s. Okay, and bear in mind you've got a calculator, so just go through your numbers till you find numbers that give you 63. Okay, now question 7. 700 people arrive at a bus station. and has to be transferred to a local airport.